Welcome to Call Before Showing, a podcast where we help real estate pros navigate the emotional ups and downs of the real estate business
and hear the stories of real people who buckle in and ride the roller coaster with us.
Are you ready? Let's go. Hey guys, welcome to the Call Before Showing podcast. This is Alison McPherson, and I am here today with my co-host, Alex Eldridge. Hey girl.
Hey.
What's up?
I'm having a good day. I got a contract ratified today.
Nice. Don't you just love those days?
Yes, and this one I worked hard for, so I feel like I can finally take a deep breath, except for this is where the real work begins.
Yeah, of course. Since we talked last week about Buffini, and we talked about working by referral and all of that jazz, I figured today we could talk about working by referral versus paid leads and things like that. So we're kind of winging it today.
Yes.
So I guess I'm going to start with, do you have any avenues where you're paying for leads?
Well, I guess the reason why we're having this conversation is because I do and have previously done internet leads and different sorts of referral programs.
I don't necessarily have like a paid lead generation system. I do social media marketing where I pay for ads.
Okay.
And so for me, I'm like curious about the world of like relocation or paying referral fees to a specific online marketing company or like whatever. So what do you do?
What I've done in the past is different from what I'm doing now. I'll start by saying that when I first got into real estate, I was working for a team with two top producers. Now, one of them paid for Zillow leads, and that's where she got a ton of her business. And she is a huge top producer. I mean, she's a beast. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And then the other one, she did a lot more working by referral, but she still had her hand kind of in a couple different baskets, so to speak. And so she did pay for leads on a website that was not nearly as popular as the Zillows, the Realtor.coms, you know, those sites. But I think it was called House Value Store or something like that. And so it was kind of like a wannabe Zillow, if you will. They would send leads, same with the way that Zillow works, just on a lower scale. So when I started, I was working as their buyer's agent, and so I would basically
like try to cultivate the leads.
Yeah, I was the first person to talk to any of these leads, right? And you have to know that with internet leads, like it really is just a person that's on their computer looking at a house and might like ask for more information about a property or contact this agent. They might click on that button, or they're just on a site looking at a house and their information gets captured somehow. Maybe in order to see more about the house, you have to put in your name and email address. So they are pretty cold leads to begin with. I was totally comfortable with this because I do have a lot of experience in cold calling. And so I actually managed a telemarketing team once upon a time in my past life. And I also have had jobs with collections and other telemarketing things and just different kinds of sales and stuff. So this wasn't foreign to me at all. But you are calling a lot of people to find one hot lead or warm lead. That's what I did in the past. Now, what I'm doing now is a little bit different. I'm not paying up front for any leads, but I am on a relocation team. I am an independent contractor, but there's a group that you can be a part of in our office that you have to be certified to be like a relocation agent, and you have to have had a certain amount of sales within the last 12 months or 18 months. And so you can't just be a brand new agent coming in and being given these leads because they're pretty solid leads. You have to show that you have experience with dealing with relocations and military buyers and such.
Is that something where the company has teamed up with a relocation company like Cardis or any of the other really big companies hire them to help their people relocate to different locations?
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And so if a potential client is either a part of a corporate relocation or they are on a number of banks or lenders' sites, I am one of the agents that bank or lender has approved to be like a certified agent with them. And so they'll see a reward at the end of the deal if they do choose me as their agent. And with this, there is a big referral fee that you do pay on the back end. It's, it's definitely not as great as if I were to just sell a house to a family member or a friend or something like that. But ultimately, it ends up getting you business and it gets your foot in the door. And I have had instances where I have, with any of these like internet leads, I've sold them a house and I've gone on to sell their sister a house and their daughter a house and I've gone on to be their family agent. It's a great way to get your foot in the door if you don't have a huge SOI, which was my case coming in.
Right. I have kind of on accident did a relocation deal last year, and it was because an agent on one of the Facebook groups that I'm pretty active in was looking for an agent in my area. So she found me, we chatted, and she was like, oh my God, my people are going to love you. And so I was like, awesome. Then come to find out, they were going to be working with a really big corporation in our area. I'm not on that company's relocation team, but in some way we got it approved. I don't know how that happened, but basically the client was like, I want to work with her and we are mad at you if we can't work with her. And then I got in.
Did you have to pay a referral fee?
Yeah, it was a big referral fee to the relocation company. The agent was so sweet and she was like, there's no way you're going to pay that relocation fee and my referral fee. So just like take really good care of them and
Oh, that's really nice.
Yeah, she was like, money isn't everything. Just take good care of them. And I was like, absolutely. That client now is like one of my really good friends. Like, we hang out all the time. And like, I'm sure she'll send me future business, So, yeah, I think that is definitely true that like it leads to more things in the future. And even if it doesn't lead to more things in the future, at the end of the day, it's a client that you didn't have before.
Absolutely. My office coach put it to me in terms that I really liked. He said it's like owning a hardware store, and some people are going to come in to buy a lawnmower and some people are going to come in to buy a hammer. You're not going to say no to the people coming in to buy a hammer, and eventually they're going to need to buy a lawnmower too. You do what you got to do. When I first moved to Virginia, I knew no one. I had never been to Virginia before when I arrived with all of my things. And the first exercise that they have you do when you start with a company is write out your sphere of influence. And I had like 15 people on that list, and I had to track them down to be able to get phone numbers or emails because I didn't even know them well enough to already have that information. I could have waited to just get business by referral, but I needed to make money. We live in a dual income household, and it needs to stay that way, at least for now. And so it's vital that I be bringing in business. And if that's not the case for you and you really can wait and build relationships, then you could consider not having to do that. I don't see anything wrong with it. Even the way that I'm talking about it now, I feel like I'm defending it.
Well, yeah, I was going to say, I was like, do you feel like sometimes the people who are like, oh, well, I only work by referral. And like, I'm saying that as somebody who pretty much only works by referral. But like, do you feel sometimes it's like frowned upon in our industry to pay for leads in some way? The people who only work by referral are like holier than thou?
Yeah, I don't know if I would say that it's frowned upon, but I think a couple things about that. So one is you have these big businesses like Buffini, and they're really making their money off of saying, you don't have to pay for leads, you don't have to stoop that low. And that's their marketing pitch, and it works for them.
Yeah.
That's being told to a lot of agents.
Yeah.
I've had a number of agents say, like with a very condescending tone, oh, I don't need to pay for leads, or I've worked for every lead I've gotten. And that's great. That's awesome. Good for you. I have worked to build relationships too, but I've also done this. I'm working just as hard as you. What does it matter ultimately?
It doesn't.
It doesn't matter if I'm still getting a check at the end of the day and I still know that I'm taking really good care of my people. I do know some agents that pay for leads and they don't focus as much on taking care of their people because they're always working on new internet leads. That's fine too. That's their business. I don't do it like that. I feel like I can do a combination of both. Any past client of mine, regardless of them being an internet lead, becomes my SOI, you know?
Right.
And I'm still going to continue to talk to them and spend time with them and take care of them because I know that things are going to come from it. And also, I don't know a ton of people in the area that I'm in. And so these people that I'm getting to meet are really, it's an opportunity for me to make a new friend. So yeah, that's all it is. But it's definitely a different game and you have to be comfortable with it. And people that haven't done internet leads might not be comfortable with it. They might not be comfortable picking up the phone and calling a stranger and, you know, getting a deal out of that.
Well, and there was one of the agents that you were talking about earlier that you worked with who did a lot of Zillow marketing. Like she does a lot and gets a lot of Zillow leads.
Yeah.
She went on vacation and it was at a time that you and the other person on your team were also out of town or doing something else. And so she was looking for somebody to watch her business and her leads. I will never forget because I was like, I'm never doing this. I'm never paying for internet leads like this because my phone rang so much. Like, and for whatever reason, like that week, it just like popped for those Zillow leads. She has like canned responses in her phone for text messaging and like things that are a system. And like, I didn't have those things. And so I felt like I was always on my phone, but when you have a system for it, then it kind of takes away the drama of it all, I guess I would say. But for me, that week was super dramatic because I was like, oh my God, if that freaking phone rings again,
yeah,
I'm going to be so mad. And then you don't want to be answering a phone because like that could be a new really good friend or a new awesome client that you could work with. But I was not in the right headspace for that, man.
Yeah.
So I feel like you have to be ready for it. Like if you're ready to throw some money at it, you have to be ready for those leads to come in and like have a system for actually following up with them and keeping up with them for like more than just a day.
A thing to note with Zillow leads is that a lot of the times the client does not really understand who you are and what's going on. They think that you're the listing agent. They're looking at a property and right next to it says contact agent. So you think that's the agent that's listing, you know, that's listed the property and that's going to show it to me.
Right.
They don't realize that the picture and the phone number that's next to contact agent is someone that's paid for Zillow leads.
Right.
They are going to call you and they're going to immediately start asking questions about the property. You need to be prepared for that. And so, yeah, you do have to have a system in place. You do need to be able to really think on your feet. And it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a grind. You have to field through a lot of crap to get the good ones. I think that it takes a different personality type to do one or the other really well.
That's interesting. Tell me more.
I know my strengths and my weaknesses, and I would say that I am definitely not a great icebreaker. However, and I don't say this to like sound cocky or anything like this, anyone that I've ever worked with has told me this, I really pride myself in being an excellent closer. If I'm at a party where you, Alison, for sure, you could by the end of that party have everyone know that you're a realtor and have your information and you would have made your way around and made best friends with everyone. I'm not great at that. I'm actually a little bit awkward at first. But as soon as I find even the smallest thing to connect with someone on, I can latch on and really never let them go. And so when it comes to leads being given to me in any job that I've been in before, I take really good care of them. I remember Sherry saying many times that she was never worried to go out of town because if she handed me even so much as a name and a phone number to someone she didn't know that well, she knew that by the time she came back, I would have closed it. So that's why I think that it works really well for me, because the icebreaker isn't needed in this situation. Like, they've already reached out.
Right.
And I feel really confident in taking it from that point to close. I know that's something I'm working on, is trying to become a better icebreaker, but it's not who I am naturally. So it's something I'm going to work on. But me naturally, like, I do handle these really well for that reason.
I think that's a really good way to put that. It's so funny that you say that about me going to a party and like being BFF with all the people by the end of it, because I feel awkward as hell when a Zillow lead calls me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, what do I do with you? I have no idea. Like, so that's funny that you say that, because that's how I feel about working with strangers. Stranger danger.
If you meet me in a social situation, if you meet me at a party, by the end of it, you're like, who is this weird person? I feel like people like usually underestimate me in social situations, but when it comes to just picking it up like in the professional zone, I can put that hat on and really, really own it, and I feel really confident wearing that hat, and I feel like a completely different person. Like, it's super weird. It's like I have an alter ego, and she is Alex the realtor. You know, and she's going to take really good care of you, and she's going to negotiate, and she is going to just handle things.
You have an alter ego that like is a badass businesswoman. She grabs her briefcase and
she's like nothing like me.
She grabs her briefcase and beats the shit out of everyone around her.
I do. That's it.
I think that's like a really good thing to like know if you're working with a bunch of people that are kind of like strangers at the beginning, that you have that skill to like get them to the finish line.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's what's most important in this business, right? Nobody really cares if you're best friends by the end of it.
I do feel like I get to build a good relationship with them. I do feel at the end like we've been through something together, and I really value that. The like business Alex or whatever, she's not like stone cold. Like, I don't feel like it's just business, but I do feel really confident in what I'm doing and presenting. And our listeners won't know this, but I'll tell you, and Alison knows this, I can get some hate for looking or appearing to be younger than I am.
Yeah.
I don't know why this happens.
Feel like you almost need to like overcompensate by like being such a professional or whatever, that they won't underestimate you or be like, oh, hi, sweetie, or whatever condescending thing they're gonna say.
I've had an agent call me a cute little agent.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, what a douche. Mm-hmm. What a douche.
I've been called cute little agent. I've had people grill me on how many closings I've had, and when I told them, they didn't believe me. It's happened a lot. It can be a little bit disheartening because I'm like, am I giving off something that makes me seem like I don't know what I'm doing?
So then do you feel like you have to overcompensate though?
For sure. I was talking to my sister about this like 2 days ago, and she was like, you seem like you're always trying to prove yourself. Do you realize that? And I was like, oh yeah, I am.
Yes, I am. I am always selling myself.
Which is probably something that I need to figure out like internally, but ultimately it's great for my clients because I'm always doing like 150% because I feel like I need to prove that I am really, really good, because I feel like when people see me, they think like, oh, but she's younger than us.
Yeah.
Because most of the time I am younger than the people that I'm working with. And so ultimately it ends up being great for them because I end up working my butt off, but I feel like it might not be coming from the right place. Like, it might just be coming from an insecurity because I've had so many people like question my age. I love how this turned into like a therapy session.
I know, but like sometimes we need that. Like, we had a whole episode that was dedicated to you were like my psychotherapist. So that's normal, I feel like.
It is. I would say that with internet leads, there are some things that you need to implement that are definitely different. Like you said, you know, you need to have a system.
And also like some safety things too, because kind of one of those things where if it's not somebody that you know, you should be implementing some safety things to make sure that you're not kidnapped.
I think that the safety things are also the case if you're doing an open house or if you're just meeting someone that called on one of your listings. So that's not necessarily an exclusive internet leads issue. I think that's just a realtor issue.
Yes.
And I think that we should do an episode on safety because that is very real and some really tragic things have happened in the real estate world.
Yeah.
You know, it is a risk meeting a stranger or publicizing online that you're going to be by yourself in an empty house, because that's what we're doing when we're advertising an open house.
Right.
The non-safety things that I would say are, I don't love scripts, but I would say look at a script if you need to, or come up with what works for you and just, you know, adjust it as you go along. In your phone, you can have shortcuts. I have shortcuts for so many different things. If I'm texting a new person, if I'm responding to a request for information, if I'm setting up time for them to see the property, I have shortcuts for all of that. I think that's a really good idea because since you are getting so many leads, there were so many to sift through that it's nice to just do it quickly. What I do now for relocation is totally different because they are someone that is definitely moving to the area and they're new to the area. And I always find that being super compassionate, I know a tiny fraction of what they're going through because I have moved across the country to a place where I have no family and friends. I have not endured anything besides that a military family has. And so I'm always really compassionate and sensitive to that. I do have a brother-in-law that's a veteran. I think that it's just really, really important to be super respectful and super sensitive to whatever they're going through. My relocation people, I just want to like give them a big hug and be like, it's going to be okay. We can be friends when you get here.
Yeah.
And our kids can go on play dates and this is going to be great because, you know, it's so hard having to uproot your life. Even if it's because of a corporate relocation, even if it's because of a great opportunity, because that's what happened with West and I. We made the decision to do it. It was still really, really fucking hard. Sorry. It was still really, really hard.
You can say fucking on our podcast. This is our podcast.
So I think that that's really important. It helps if you already have like preset text that you're going to send to as far as internet leads go. I don't do that with my relocation people though, because those leads aren't coming in like all the time. You never really get more than like 1 or 2 a week. And I really, really value that business and the fact that I get to be on that relocation team because not everyone does. Yeah, I'm going to pay a big referral fee at the end, but like those are my babies. I want to take care of them. And I know that if I do take really, really good care of them, a great relationship can come out of it and also tons of future opportunities.
Yeah. I really like that perspective because it's one of those things, like as somebody that works primarily by referral, I also always have little things here and there throughout the year that kind of like supplement in, like, oh, I watched somebody's business and they do Zillow leads and so I got a Zillow lead and I'm paying them a referral fee or whatever. Okay, so if you do online leads, if you do relocation, and all of that jazz, a lot of times you see the big name people who do like only relocation or only Zillow leads. And sometimes that, for somebody like me, that feels intimidating.
There's some people that are spending thousands of dollars a month for those leads.
Right.
And that is intimidating.
Yeah.
When I was doing these Zillow leads, I'll be perfectly frank with you, I wasn't paying a dime because I was on a team and I was a buyer's agent, which meant the people that were paying for those leads were going to get a referral fee at the end of the day, regardless of whether I was working a lead for them or finding it on my own.
And so it's kind of one of those things for me. It's hard to say which route I would want to go to add something in to supplement my referral business, right? Because at some point, I'm going to want to up-level my business, and referrals are amazing, and I love working by referral, but sometimes it's cool to pay for leads and add it in. And so I really appreciate that perspective that you have of saying, you know, it's a really good supplement and also like it's a really good way to start a business in a new place, or, you know, you almost don't have to feel guilty about it. Because one of the things, and, you know, last week we were talking really highly about the Buffini thing, but then at the same time, I remember the first year that we went to that, he said something that like almost made me feel like awkward enough to make me feel like shamed to do
What did he say?
anything but working by referral.
Yeah.
He said the money that you're paying to Zillow or the money that you're paying for XYZ leads, that's the fee you're paying for not being excellent. Do you remember that? Were you there for that?
I'm sure I was there for that, but it didn't like stick with me.
And I straight up was like, oh, so the only way that I can be excellent is to only work by referral.
Yeah.
But like, you see so many top producers and they're relocation agents, they're paying for Zillow leads, like they're doing all of those things too, or in addition to working by referral. And so it's kind of one of those things that, of course, you know, Brian Buffini is there to sell coaching.
If he makes you feel that way, which he did, then he's winning.
Yeah.
Because you're going to think, oh, okay, so I need to be working by referral only so that I can prove that I am excellent.
And the only way I can be excellent is pay $500 a month for one-on-one coaching.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. So that this person can encourage you to be excellent. Like, I don't know. I mean, obviously he's pushing a product and he does a great job of it. And I really enjoy going to his seminars and to his conferences. But I think that's a little below the belt, if you ask me. Like, I think that you can do both. I think everyone can do both. And
yeah,
I don't think everyone needs to do both. Like, guys, I said it. The reason why I started doing this is because I did not know a lot of people where I was living, and I've moved around a lot, and I'm in a new place where I don't know a lot of people again. And this time I came up when I was 9 months pregnant, so it's not like I was coming up to immediately start socializing. Like, I was coming up to spend the next 3 months in my house recovering from a C-section. You know, like, it's not ideal for suddenly like growing this huge SOI. And then also the personality thing. I'm not a great icebreaker, but I feel like if I'm given the chance, I can be a great closer and I can grow something really great from it. And I can really gain people's trust, and I value that a lot. And so I think that what I'm doing is really a combination of both. I personally experienced a lot of agents that made me feel really bad about being on a team and about my team paying for leads. There was one agent that would always, whenever she like had like 1 or 2 drinks in her, she would sit there and try to convince me that I shouldn't be on a team. Why do you care? I'm getting a lot more closings than you. So, you know, like, what's the point of this? And then I've also talked to a lot of independent agents that said if they would have known their options, they would have started off on a team. If we take the energy that we spend, like, making other people feel not great about themselves and put it towards working harder and building more, like, good relationships with potential clients and stuff, like, you'd probably end up making more money. You'd probably end up making as much money as me. I'm kidding.
We probably could make enough money to pay for Zillow leads.
That's right.
And for an assistant.
Yeah, the agent that I worked with, like, she could have definitely hired someone just to, like, vet those leads. I mean, and she's killing it. And, like, that's the thing, is in a company where there are agents that feel that way and that say these underhanded comments, if you look at the person that's at the top of that production board, it's someone that pays for leads and has a team. What does that tell you? I think that if you have made it in this business even a year without quitting, you've accomplished something big. Right? We were talking.
Yeah, like, you good.
Yeah, you're good.
You're good.
If you have gotten a paycheck, if you have paid some bills with money that you made in the real estate business, I applaud you. Like, that means that you've worked, that you've overcome obstacles, because it's not easy. It's not easy. It takes a lot of dedication. It takes a lot of commitment. It takes a lot of work to find people and then get it to closing and then pay your fucking bills. And then find more people.
Like, just you do you and stay in your effing lane. Amen. I feel like we need to end on that because that was like, yes.
You can find us on Instagram, and we have a Facebook group, which we need to start posting in there more. I was thinking about it the other day.
Yes. Do it, girl.
So, yeah, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook. Email us. Everything is at callbeforeshowing or callbeforeshowing@gmail.com. And we would love to hear from you. We know people are listening.
I know. Like, we see you on analytics, y'all.
That's right.
You better share it with a friend. You better share this podcast with a friend.
That's right.
Thank y'all so much for listening. Catch you next time.
Bye.